Whew! Hey guys, so you might remember a few months ago I did a book talk for Time Between Us by Tamara Ireland Stone, and at the end of that video I promised that I was going to do a book review for the sequel immediately. And for those of you who watched the video, you might be thinking, oh, did she forget, or did she just read the book and didn't bother doing a review? But no, it is literally taking me this long to find the book. I've been on a self-imposed book buying ban lately, so I could not buy it at Barnes & Noble's. It was not at my local library, and finally last month they got it in at the library, and I put that sucker on hold instantly, and I just got it last week. I finished it Monday, and now I can finally talk about it with all of you. Today I will be reviewing Time After Time, the second book in the series by Miss Tamara Ireland Stone. You can't really see it that well, can you? If you haven't actually read Time Between Us yet, like I said, I have a book talk, so I'll leave that in the link down below, and you should probably go watch that first to get like the little spoiler-free section and see if you'd want to check it out. Since this is the second book in the series, I don't want to waste any time with like trying to keep spoilers, so if you haven't read this book yet, all you need to know is that it's fabulous. I was worried that it was going to be another one of those ones that it was pointless as to why there was a sequel. Like, it all wrapped up so nicely in Time Between Us that I was like, why do we need a sequel? And then I was very confused, and if you go watch my book talk, you will realize this, because I literally thought that this book was going to be Bennett's point of view from all the events that happen in Time Between Us, but no, this was like after Time Between Us, and it's all from Bennett's point of view, and it is really, really good. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. I was so impressed. I really want to read more from Tamara Ireland Stone just because she writes such cute books, and the one thing that I always loved about this series, and it worked in this book too, was that the time traveling is not confusing, because I cannot tell you how many books I have read with time traveling or how many movies I've watched where the time traveling rules, they're more complicated than like a college kid's calculus textbook. And these ones are pretty simple to follow, and that makes the story so much more enjoyable. I loved this story. It was so cute. I think it had such a good plot line, and it wasn't pointless at all, so if you like the first one, you will definitely like this one. It's so cute, and you get Bennett's point of view, so how can you not love that? So definitely, if you haven't checked it out, go do that, but you're not going to want to watch the rest of this video until you do, because I'm just going to go right into the spoilers. Bye for now, non-spoilers. Alright, like I said, I just finished reading this book, so it's like fresh in my mind, and I'm so excited. There's so much I want to share with all of you. First of all, I loved that it was Bennett's point of view. Time Between Us was all in Anna's, and while I liked that because I felt like that was her story, this is really Bennett's story, and I love the focus on it, how it's focused on kind of Bennett pushing the limits with his time traveling more, seeing if he can go back and like change certain events and save people's lives. And for a little while it actually worked, and I was like, I didn't know how I felt about it, because it's like that's always the one thing with time traveling is you can't go back and change stuff or you have serious repercussions. And in this case, I thought something was happening because the side cover is so misleading. It says that Bennett witnesses something he shouldn't have, and that like ruins the entire thing for him. So I'm thinking like, oh, it's gonna happen like 50 pages in. No, it does not happen until like the last like 100 pages when he sees Anna kissing that guy in like 2005, and he's like, I don't know who this is, but I figured out pretty quickly that it was Bennett. I was like, that's not a surprise. So that kind of had me confused, because the whole time I thought he was gonna like do something that made him lose Anna, or he was going to see Anna in the future and she didn't recognize him because like he had erased himself from her memory somehow. But all that really happened with these things where he saved 2 children from a fire, and then he saved a father and a daughter from a car crash, and it wasn't even like he saved them. He just like, I don't know how he described it exactly, but he altered stuff and distracted them. So in his eyes it was okay, because he wasn't really like being the hero or like doing anything like super heroic and crazy. He was just kind of like doing these little things that could happen even if he wasn't there. It worked for a little while until he started getting massive nosebleeds, which I was just like, oh gross, I hate nosebleeds. And this one has a pretty good description of nosebleeds. If you're ever wondering how bad they can get, just pick this book up. He couldn't even visit Anna because he kept getting bounced back. That's when he realized that, you know, maybe I was right in the first place and that I shouldn't be interfering, which is a really suckish thing to realize, because Bennett, like, actually, even though he didn't want to go back and change these things because he felt like it wasn't his place, once he decided to do it, it made him feel really good. And like, you could see that his relationship with his dad was getting stronger, his relationship with his parents, and everything was just kind of going good, and he was feeling like he really had a purpose in life. But then all of a sudden it's like, of course, took the dark turn that everyone kind of knew it was gonna, because there are always repercussions. If you're a time traveler out there, I feel bad for you, because like Anna said at the end, why couldn't Bennett fly? I mean, it's so much easier. You can't can't change anything, you're just flying, you're there. So Bennett, unlike in the first one, could only spend a limited amount of time in 1995 or else he got really sick and stuff, and he didn't want to get accidentally bounced back to the point where he couldn't come back like the end of the last book. Him and Anna throughout the whole book could only have like 3 days here together, 2 days there, and they kind of mapped out all the important events they wanted them there for, and it was like, it was a good plan in theory, but then like I felt bad because you could just see that like Bennett wasn't sure if like he wanted that, and he wasn't like, he was even more uncertain if Anna wanted that and if it was fair to her. And her dad, oh my gosh, I hate when parents are those D-bags that are like, is this really the right relationship? Like, should you be doing this to her? Because her dad, oh my gosh, I wanted to punch her dad in the face, and then he had a heart attack, so I couldn't even be mad at him anymore. And I felt, oh my gosh, that was probably my favorite scene in the entire book. When Anna's dad had the heart attack and Bennett was like, I can fix this, just let me do it. Who cares about the nosebleeds? It's your dad. And Anna's like, no, I'm not letting you hurt yourself just so you can save my dad. I love my dad, but I'm not going to let someone else I love get hurt too. That was a really strong moment in Anna and Bennett's relationship, and Bennett was pretty smart in figuring out, he's like, okay, I don't have to go back and change anything because that'll hurt me, but I can go forward in my lifetime and see like how he turns out. So he went forward a little. The dad was okay, he had a limp and like he couldn't use his hand, so Bennett's like, oh, let me go even further, see if he's better. And that was when the big thing happened with Christmas, when he saw her smiling at this other guy, and he was like, oh no, who is this other guy? And he threw in like that tizzy that I hate when like guy and girl characters, they think they know what their significant other wants, and then they think they're doing the better thing for them by breaking up with them, and then it turns out that's totally worse. But I did love the moment when Bennett went back and saw the guy, and he was like, oh, I'm finally gonna see who this douchebag is, I'm gonna beat him up, like thinking it was Justin. And then he didn't even get to see him, he got bounced back, and he's like, wait, why did I get bounced back? It must be me. So then he was really excited because he's still with Anna, and that makes me so happy because they're gonna be together like 10 years from now, and it's just like awesome and great. One of the big things about this book too was that we got to see Brooke. She basically just talked about in the first book, we never really got to meet her character, but she was a really cool character in here, and her and Anna were like becoming best friends. It was so cute. The one thing that bothered me was it was never really explained like what happened to Brooke. She was just stuck in 1994, and then she went back to like the place that she had been at, touched the wall, and then all of a sudden she was back. And apparently she was doing pretty well in 1994. She had roommates, she had a nice little apartment, she had a job. Like, she could have been pretty self-sufficient in 1994. And then Maggie's character, oh my gosh, Maggie's character. We got less of her than we did in the first book, but Bennett explained everything to her, basically, aside from the fact that she wouldn't be alive when Bennett was 17 like he is now, and she reacted pretty calmly, I gotta say. The ending I felt was perfect. Like, the entire story, I was just kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It was just very like kind of bated breath, because although it was a happy story, I was like, when is the sad part gonna come? And then of course it did come when Bennett was like, we need to break up, this isn't right for you, this isn't right for me, all that blah blah blah. And then the end though, he came back and he was like, I realized that it's you, it's me, we're meant to be, I'm not supposed to be here, but I want to. I think that was a big thing. I think that's why this book needed to be written, was for Bennett to realize that it's okay to use his time traveling powers, but they don't have to be for such heroic deeds. They can just be with this girl that he loves in 1995 when he's only like 6 months old. Love whenever we go back to 1995, because I'm always like, if you're looking for Anna, why don't you just like text her? And then I'm like, oh wait, they don't have phones, oops. I really love this book. Like I said, I think it's so cute, and I really thought it was going to be pointless, but it was just, it had such a good story. I was invested in it. I flew through it so quickly. I wish it hadn't taken me 5 months to find it, but now that I finally read it, I'm excited. I can't wait to see if Tamara Ireland Stone is going to write more, not for this series, because I know that that's pretty much over and done, and that's okay, because I feel like if there were more, it would just be kind of grasping at straws. Whereas the first book, Time Between Us, was kind of Anna's story and her growing and developing and like becoming okay with having a time-traveling boyfriend, and now this story is like Bennett's becoming okay with his powers and with what he's limited to and what he can do, and also being a time-traveling boyfriend and what that means, how he can be fair to Anna and himself and his family, because that's the thing, his family can never really meet Anna unless he brings them all back, and he can only bring them, I think, one at a time. The only thing that I think was missing from this was I would want an epilogue. Like, I don't know, just something, like, we got the little little glimpse of them in 2005, like just as happy as ever. But I love my epilogues just because they make everything all right in the world. Since I believe this is the last book in the series, I especially would have liked to have an epilogue just to have it all tied up. Maybe they had like time traveling kids, because like if Bennett had kids, would they all be able to time travel, or would like none of them be able to time travel or something? Like I still don't get how that gene flows in the family, because I don't think anyone else in this family can time travel. But that's what I really like about this book, is it's like basically a contemporary book, but then they just throw time traveling in there and you're like, okay, like it's never too hard to understand. It's never really explained why he's a time traveler, because it's not like he was at a radioactive power site one day and like fell in and just suddenly he had these time traveling powers. It's just kind of like there. I've always loved that about this series. So 5 stars for this book, 5 stars for the series. This is definitely now one of my favorite series. I loved it even more than the first one. I did not think that was going to be possible because the first book was just so cute. Thank goodness there was not really a love triangle in there. It was implied that Justin kind of had feelings for Anna, but oh my gosh, thank goodness there was no love triangle, because I really thought with that Meg chick, when they brought her in, I was like, oh no, Bennett's gonna get over Anna and be like, maybe I should try this Meg chick, and then I'm gonna be like, ugh. So thank goodness there was no love triangle. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and so worth the wait. So that will do it for my book review. We can finally close the chapter on my first ever series on the booktube, because I actually did a review of each book in the series, unless she decides to make a third one, which I don't even know what it could be called, like Time Into Time, Time Onto Time? I don't know what it would be called. Time Over Time? Time and Time Again. I like that one. There we go. Thank you all for watching. I'm Miranda, and I will see you next time. Enjoy reading. Bye!